Hello and welcome back to the channel. Thanks for stopping by for another video. I do appreciate that and I appreciate you. So I'm over here at the Seattle Times. Now this article here is about a month old, but to be honest, this is the first I've come across it and the first time reading it, so I figured I'd share it with you guys just in case you missed it as well. It says Japan's Fukushima cleanup plan delays removal of fuel rods. Okay, it goes on to say here that Japan's government on Tuesday approved a revision of its 30 to 40-year plan to decommission the Fukushima nuclear plant, delaying by 3 more years the removal of radioactive fuel rods stored at the 2 of the 3 reactors damaged in the 2011 disaster. 6.5 years since a massive earthquake and tsunami struck the plant on Japan's northeastern coast, the amount of contaminated water that must be pumped out and treated every day has decreased significantly, and remote-controlled robots have provided a limited view of melted fuel debris inside the reactors. Still, the exact location of the melted fuel is largely unknown, and robots that can withstand the high radiation for prolonged work they are still being developed. See, here's a few things I'm going to throw out there. How can we send satellites into space and radiation that's hundreds and thousands of times worse, but yet we can't build or develop any type of machine that can withstand the radiation from Fukushima? I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist or anything like that. But, I mean, come on. Put two and two together there. If we cannot even develop machines, and I know this has nothing to do with this story, so I apologize, that can withstand radiation from a nuclear power plant, although, don't get me wrong, I know how devastating this situation was. But yet, you then want us to believe that you can develop satellites that can withstand radiation hundreds and thousands of times worse. I don't know. I'm just going to leave it there. But there's another thing. Another reason I'm sharing this with you too, because there's a typhoon Lan, which I reported on earlier. It's going to be a category 2 to 3 hurricane by the time it hits Japan. It's going to hit relatively directly on this power plant, this nuclear power plant. So if any more damage can be done, I'm worried that it's going to make the situation even worse. They can't even get in there now and find these spent fuel rods to remove. So now you're going to have this hurricane, strong winds, gust up to 155 miles an hour. You got storm surges and then becoming heavy rains. I'm almost worried that we could have another event, if that's even possible, with this nuclear plant, with this, with Typhoon Lan, soon to be Hurricane Lan, headed that way. But to get back to the story, and off my little rant there, I apologize. It goes on to say that among the highest risk at the plant are 1,573 fuel rod units, each consisting of dozens of fuel rods which are cooled with water in storage pools that are not enclosed within the reactor buildings. It says the plant operator Tokyo Electric Power Company had planned to start moving them to safer storage by the end of fiscal 2020, but the latest plan says 3 more years are needed for reactor units 1 and 2, including delays made in earlier revisions. The fuel rod removal plan is now up to 6 years behind schedule. Removal at the Unit 3 reactor is set to start next year and is expected to take about 2 years to finish. Now that's barring any other disasters and stuff. Like I said, they may be facing one here in the next couple days. And there's also been other reports that I've read where the radiation has been literally swept all the way down the beaches. Like beaches all along Japan they've been discovering radiation in the sand and whatnot, and groundwater as well. So it's far worse than they've ever told us. They've downplayed this from the beginning, and it's not, again, it's not, not being a conspiracy theorist, but that's the truth. This is far worse than Chernobyl ever was, but yet they downplay it so much. I think they're just so embarrassed by this disaster that they're afraid to tell us exactly how bad it really is. They're just hoping that somehow we just forget about it. And I just don't see how, I don't know. It just blows my mind, um, this whole situation, how it's been handled. But it does go on to say that the decommissioning plan, the second revision approved since the disaster, still calls for the removal of the melted nuclear fuel inside the reactors to start in 2021, based on recent findings on more efficient methods. But the plan still lacks details regarding the duration of the melted fuel removal, how the radioactive waste will ultimately be stored, and final status of the plant itself, raising doubts on whether the cleanup can really be completed in 40 years. So, I mean, they don't even know where these fuel rods are. They don't truly know just how much this has leaked into the groundwater and leaked. Of course, they're going to tell us all these happy, good stories because they don't want us to panic and they don't want us to truly know. They're going to tell us all the positive stuff. They're not going to tell us the truth. They're just not. It just blows my mind. But he goes on to finish up by saying, removing the reactor's melted fuel is by far the hardest part of the decommissioning. An underwater robot in July saw large amounts of rock-like objects and solid lumps, apparently melted nuclear fuel, mixed with melted and mangled equipment and internal structures on the floor of Unit 3 primary containment chamber. It says the search for melted fuel in Units 1 and 2 has been unsuccessful due to structural damage and extremely high radiation. Despite the unknowns, debris removal methods will be finalized in 2019, and the actual removal is set to start on one of the reactors in 2021 as planned. Now, again, I'm just going to go back to this and just leave it at this. It's not really related, but if you can believe that we send satellites into space that can withstand hundreds and thousands of times more radiation than this nuclear power plant has ever created, but yet we cannot develop a machine that can withstand the radiation long enough to even find these spent fuel rods. I mean, I don't know. I'm open-minded. I want to believe in everything, but then when you start putting things together, I know it's like a whole different story. So I'm going to leave it at that. I apologize. But just think about that for a minute. It's just common sense. It really is. Maybe everything they are telling us isn't true. Everyone is in today's society believes if it's on TV, if it's on the internet, it has to be true because no one would lie to us. Why would they lie to us? I mean, you're going to have to figure that out on your own. You're going to have to open your eyes and wake up on your own and start to see things for yourself. But I'm not one to push anything on anyone. So, again, I do appreciate every single one of you. I'm sorry I got off on kind of different stories and a little different rants, but I appreciate you guys for watching these videos. I truly do, and supporting the channel. So be sure to share, like, subscribe, and comment down below. I hope you have a great day. Peace.